Is it possible that a Jewish singer with leftist ideas leads a band with a partially National Socialist moniker and whose mascot wears a vaguely Nazi helmet? The immediate answer would be a big no, but in the case of Sacred Reich, it's all true. I'm Marcus from ROCKMETALBANDS.com, and in this video review of Sacred Reich's Ignorance 30th Anniversary reissue, I'll explain how it really went. Dan Kelly, original singer of the band, and Paul Stotler, artwork artist for the band and basically a fifth member in the early stage, went on a road trip to California and they went into Hollywood. There they became friends with a graffiti gang called SR13, which stood for Stone Revolutionaries 13, and they liked the acronym and they wanted to use it for the band's name, but they didn't like the association with the original name. 13 stood for the letter M, which in turn stood for marijuana, and they didn't like this association. So they made a list of words which could be a moniker for the band, and in the end Sacred Reich won. Even if this could have caused some ambiguity in the beginning when they were just a cover band with very few original tunes, they decided to keep it. They kept it because first it was a name that made people understand that they were not dealing with a country band, and secondly it was definitely an attention getter. So when the band was asked why they chose Sacred Reich, the explanation was the following. I quote, "Sacred Reich is a sarcastic over-exaggeration of what happens when folks let people like Hitler rise to power." As for the package, we have to say that this is a digipack with an outer package in paper, and the booklet can be opened as a cross. Now to the visual aspect. The original front cover for Ignorance featured a plane crash, an American flag, and a blindfolded guy, but this was what appeared in the CD and vinyl of 1987. Actually, the true original front cover is the one that appears on this 30th anniversary reissue, which is in black and white and features many more details and subjects. But at the time, Metal Blade Records deemed it too punk for a metal band, unlike Earache Records, which chose a similar cover for Napalm Death's debut, Scum. Some of the subjects contained in this reissue front artwork are connected to Ignorance, and I'll mention them. All of the subjects depicted on this cover are connected to the concept of ignorance, which is the cause of all evil, as to what Socrates said, and I'll just cite a few of them. We have a horned Christian preacher speaking in front of TV cameras in a church on fire with US banknotes blowing away. Then we have a robbery at a store with a criminal shooting the store clerk. Then we have a car accident with a pool of blood. Then we can also see a punk drinking and smoking. Then we have some members of the Ku Klux Klan close to some very slim men naked with empty bowels begging for food. Then we got to aborted fetuses. Then we have a man with a needle in his arm, the plane crash, and a soldier holding the body of another soldier who is dead, and he is turning it around. More subjects are described in the written review. Inside the digipack we can enjoy a great deal of pictures from that era, while on the backside we can see another drawing in black and white. We have the mascot of the band, Our Dude, who is a skeleton with a helmet, a gas mask, dyed nails, tattoos, weapons, and numbers on his jacket. This scene reminds me of the atmosphere from War of the Worlds because of the menacious entities lurking near Our Dude. Now to the trivia and fun facts. There are several trivia about Sacred Reich. I just want to mention 7 for you. Number 1. Our dude, the band's mascot, is a post-apocalyptical mutant warrior. He was drawn originally at the Coronado High School in Scottsdale, Arizona, when Paul Stadler was asked to sketch it, and he drew a skull with a helmet in black and white, and then he added a gas mask. So our dude was basically ready to appear on a t-shirt, and in the future he was just shortened to OD. Number 2. As to the 1987 front cover artwork, we have a plane crash, as we said, and there has been speculation about that because it's hauntingly similar to the 9/11 attack, while other people support the theory that it's just a plane crash test. Well, I have another interpretation. I think the plane is a metaphor for mankind and the planet traveling fast towards self-destruction. That's connected to the concept of ignorance, because everything is happening while we are not even aware of that, or even if we are aware, we just don't care. Number 3. Sacred Reich achieved a fair dose of popularity in 1992 when their song The American Way was used as a soundtrack for the movie The Encino Man. Number 4. Jason Newsted of Metallica and Flotsam and Jetsam fame was a die-hard supporter for Sacred Reich. He distributed their demo and sent it to fanzines. In return, when Newsted joined Metallica and Flotsam and Jetsam were without bass player, Phil Rind helped them to cover bass duties for some time. Number 5. Wiley Arnett, guitarist from Sacred Reich, partly co-owns a restaurant called Rehab Burger Therapy in Scottsdale, Arizona. He's also been endorsing ESP guitars since 1988. Number 6. Greg Gold, drummer for Sacred Reich from 1985 till 2018, was then asked to audition for Slayer when Dave Lombardo briefly left, and he was almost assigned the vacant place. And when the audition was over, Kerry King said about him, I'll quote, "He looks like Barney Rubble, but damn, the man can jam." Number 7. Sacred Reich were the first thrash metal band to be distributed through Capitol Records. Now, if we move to the lyrical content, we have to say that all of the lyrics were composed by singer-bassist Phil Rind, and the vast majority of them deal with social, political issues with a touch of humor. He actually wanted to detach from the topics that were common for bands of that period, death, Satan, serial killers and stuff like that, but without sounding boring or too serious. Some of the ones contained in Ignorance are Death Squad murdering the opponents of the right-wing regime, that victims of Fuse Too Short, a deadly virus, mutant genes, all agonizing, mankind suicide by pollution, a lack of critical thinking that leads politicians free to do what they want because there is no control from the population, war, anger, dangerous inventions, starvation, hate and destruction. And then today's cool, fascist and indulging in apathy, more interested in the ranking and in the institute's image rather than in good teaching, with students lacking personality and obeying without thinking rationally. Regarding the engineering and sound quality aspect, the album was recorded at the Stack Street studio and mixed at the track record by Bill Metoyer, known for his works with Herex, DRI and so on. The sound quality was already good in the original tracks because it emphasized Ryan's pingy bass lines, but with this remaster it has enjoyed an even more vivid presentation. The remaster is also important because it has polished all of the demo tracks that are included, as well as the track from the Metal Massacre compilation. Now, moving to the juice of the album, the track analysis, I want to mention some of these tracks. Designed to start hostilities, Death Squad is opened by granitic dynamic riffs that are similar to the ones used 2 years later on Sodom's Agent Orange and to the ones in Motor Breath by Metallica, while Arnett really shines with his bar chord acrobatics here. Victims of Demise commences quickly, and those who expect a tight track from beginning to end will be proven right. The mid-tempo of the title track begins without any pause, so majestic and relentless, followed by a guitar solo that leads to some speed metal riffing, and next to a fast rhythm where Phil Ryan's vocals stand out on the path of early DRIs. Another track I want to mention finally is the curiously named Administrative Decisions because of its initial riff reminding me of Death Angel, which guitar solo is added on. I find it particularly intriguing to listen to this dichotomy. Seconds later, the Arizona 4-piece takes us by storm with the aim of triggering some headbanging. As to the bonus tracks, I just want to remind you that it's very interesting to listen to the title track of the demo tape, Draining You of Life, because it's in the vein of the Ignorance full length, and it curiously ended up in the following EP, Surf Nicaragua. For the political, social, ecologist lyrics and for the crossover style that Sacred Reich were able to put together, and for Sacred Reich being leaders in the thrash metal movement of the late 80s. This is a digipack which has an average cost but a very high value, also because it contains the unfindable demo tracks we are all looking for. And this leads me to the only criticism of the album. I wish Metal Blade had included the demo tape artwork as well. If they had done it, then it would have been a real complete product. However, this is an oldie but goodie magnum opus, a milestone in the thrash metal movement. It's actually one of the 14 thrash metal albums that you absolutely have to own. Okay guys, if you like this video review, you can like us, you can comment below, subscribe to this channel, and let us know which video review you'd like next. Wherever you are, do take care.